will never abandon you. Before this message ends, something inside you will change. You clicked on this video thinking you were just watching another message, but this is not coincidence. This is not random. This is not an accident. You are here because heaven has been watching you. Every silent tear, every sleepless night, every time you whispered, "God, where are you?" Every moment you felt forgotten, every second you believed you were fighting alone, you have asked in the silence, "Have you left me? Did I disappoint you? Why does it feel like you're far away?" Today I answer you, and my answer is final. I will never abandon you, not when you are strong, not when you are weak, not when you succeed, not when you fail, not when you pray, not even when you doubt. I have never turned my back on you. Not once. Even when you walked away from me, I walked beside you. Even when you stopped speaking to me, I was still speaking over you. Even when you felt nothing, I was holding everything together for you. You think you survived by your strength? No, you survived because my hand never left you. There were nights you almost gave up completely. You remember them. The heaviness, the silence, the exhaustion, the loneliness. You thought no one saw. I saw. You thought no one cared. I cared. You thought you were abandoned. But the reason you are still breathing right now is because I refused to let you fall. I will never abandon you. Not ever. This message is not emotional comfort. It is a divine declaration. Heaven is speaking directly to your situation right now. And before this video ends, you will understand why your worst season did not destroy you. Because I was there. When you thought I was silent, you measure my presence by feelings, but I move beyond feelings. When you felt nothing, I was working. When prayers seemed unanswered, I was rearranging. When doors closed in your face, I was protecting you from rooms that would have broken you. You called it delay. I called it preparation. You called it rejection. I called it redirection. You called it abandonment. I called it protection. There were things you asked for that would have destroyed your future. There were people you begged me to keep who would have drained your destiny. There were opportunities you cried over losing that would have trapped you in mediocrity. You thought I was ignoring you, but I was guarding you. When the relationship ended, I was saving your heart. When the job disappeared, I was making room for greater provision. When the friends walked away, I was removing hidden betrayal. You thought I left, but I was closer than ever. I was in the pain teaching you strength. I was in the silence building your faith. I was in the waiting preparing your breakthrough. If I'd abandoned you, you would not have survived that storm. You would not have recovered from that betrayal. You would not have made it through that depression. You would not still be standing. Look at yourself. You are still here. That is proof. You may feel weak, but you are not forsaken. You may feel forgotten, but you are remembered. You may feel alone, but you are surrounded. I do not abandon my own, and you are mine. When you walked away, there were moments when you drifted, moments when you stopped praying, moments when you questioned my goodness, moments when anger filled your heart, moments when disappointment hardened you, moments when you said, "I can't trust you anymore." And yet, I did not leave. I do not love the way humans love. Humans love with conditions. I love with covenant. Humans stay when it's easy. I stay when it's impossible. You think your mistakes disqualified you? No, your mistakes qualified you for my mercy. You think your sins shocked me. I knew every failure before you were born, and I still chose you. I knew you would struggle. I knew you would fall. I knew you would doubt, and I still decided I will never abandon them. When you ran, I waited. When you hid, I searched. When you cried alone, I covered you. Even when you blamed me for the pain, I stayed. Because my love is not temporary. My commitment is not emotional. My promise is eternal. Right now, some of you listening feel ashamed. You think God is disappointed. You think He is distant. You think you have gone too far. Hear me clearly. There is nowhere you can go where my presence cannot reach. There is no darkness that can overpower my light. There is no failure that can cancel my plan for you. I did not bring you this far to abandon you in the middle. The storm you're facing is not proof of my absence. It is proof that your destiny is worth fighting for, and I am fighting for you. even when you cannot see it, even when you cannot feel it, even when you cannot understand it. I will never abandon you, not ever. When you felt unworthy, you have spent too much time believing you are not enough, not holy enough, not strong enough, not disciplined enough, not faithful enough. You compare yourself to others and feel small. You look at your past and feel disqualified. You replay your failures and call yourself unworthy. But who told you that my love was something you had to earn? Who convinced you that perfection was the price of my presence? I did not choose you because you were flawless. I chose you because I love you. Before you ever prayed your first prayer, I already knew your entire story. Every chapter, every mistake, every regret, every weakness, and I still wrote your name in my book. You think I am surprised by your struggles? I formed you knowing exactly where you would stumble. I knew your temper. I knew your doubts. I knew your hidden battles. I knew your silent addictions. I knew your secret fears. And still, I did not walk away. Your weakness does not repel me. It draws me closer, because where you are weak, I become your strength. Where you are broken, I become your healer. Where you are confused, I become your wisdom. You think I abandoned you because you failed again, but I am the God who restores again. You think I are tired of forgiving you, but my mercy renews every single morning. When you fall, I do not step back. I extend my hand. When you cry in shame, I do not accuse. I cover you. When you feel unworthy, I remind you. You are not loved because you are perfect. You are loved because I am faithful, and my faithfulness does not change when you struggle. It remains unshaken, unmoved, unbreakable. I will never abandon you, not because you deserve it, but because I promised it. When the storm grew louder, there are seasons when life becomes overwhelming, when the pressure increases, when the battle intensifies, when the noise gets louder, when everything seems to fall apart at once. You ask, if God is with me, why is this happening? Listen carefully. The presence of a storm does not mean the absence of my protection. Some storms come to destroy, but the storms you survived came to develop you. You didn't drown. You didn't break. You didn't collapse. You bent, but you did not shatter. That was not luck. That was me. There were moments when anxiety tried to consume you. Moments when fear whispered lies into your mind. Moments when financial pressure suffocated you. Moments when betrayal cut deep. Moments when sickness scared you. Moments when you questioned your future, but you are still standing. Do you know why? Because I was standing with you. When the wind was against you, I was anchoring you. When the waves were rising, I was stabilizing you. When darkness surrounded you, I was your unseen light. You thought the storm meant I left, but the storm revealed that I was holding you the entire time. If I had abandoned you, you would have given up long ago. You would have lost your mind. You would have walked away from everything. But something inside you kept whispering, hold on. That whisper was me. I do not promise a life without storms. I promise my presence inside them. And my presence changes everything. I will never abandon you in the storm. Not when the wind roars. Not when the waves crash. Not when the sky looks dark. I remain. When you felt alone in the crowd, you have smiled in public. While breaking in private, you have encouraged others. While silently needing encouragement yourself, you have shown strength. While feeling exhausted inside, you have been surrounded by people, yet felt completely alone. No one saw the weight you carried. No one knew the battles in your mind. No one heard the prayers you whispered in the dark. But I did. I saw the tears you wiped quickly so no one would notice. I heard the sighs you tried to hide. I felt the heaviness in your heart. You are not invisible to me, even when others misunderstood you, even when they misjudged you, even when they overlooked you, even when they forgot you. I did not. I have counted every tear. I have recorded every prayer. I have watched every lonely night. You think silence means isolation, but sometimes I separate you to elevate you. Sometimes I remove distractions so you can hear me clearly. Sometimes I allow loneliness so you can discover that my presence is enough. You are not alone. Even now, as you listen to this message, as your heart beats, as your breath moves in and out. I am with you, closer than you realize, stronger than your fear, greater than your doubt, more faithful than your feelings. And I am not going anywhere. Not tomorrow, not next week, not next year, not ever. I will never abandon you. When you thought it was over, there were moments you were convinced this was the end of your dream, the end of your strength, the end of your hope, the end of your future. You looked at the situation and saw no way out. You analyzed the numbers, you examined the damage, you replayed the betrayal, you felt the loss, and you concluded, it's finished. But what you called the end was only a transition. You saw a closed door. I saw a redirected path. You saw loss. I saw release. You saw something dying. I saw something transforming. There are seasons when I allow what is comfortable to fall apart, because what is coming cannot fit inside your old life. You are praying for growth, but growth requires stretching. You are praying for elevation, but elevation requires separation. You are praying for breakthrough, but breakthrough requires pressure. When everything seemed to collapse, you thought I had stepped away. But I was restructuring your foundation. If I had abandoned you, that ending would have destroyed you completely. Instead, it refined you. Instead of breaking you permanently, it built resilience inside you. Instead of ending your story, it shifted your direction. You are not at the end. You are at the edge of something new. And the reason you survived what should have crushed you is because I refused to let your story stop there. I am not finished with you, not even close. When you doubted my plan, you have asked questions in secret. Why is my path harder than others? Why does it take longer for me? Why do doors open easily for them but not for me? Did I miss my moment? You compare timelines. You measure progress. You watch others advance while you feel stuck, and doubt begins to whisper. But listen carefully. Delay is not denial, and difficulty is not disqualification. Your path is different because your assignment is different. What I'm building in you requires depth. It requires endurance. It requires maturity. It requires a strength that cannot be developed in comfort. If I gave you everything too soon, you would not be prepared to sustain it. If I opened every door immediately, you would walk into rooms without wisdom. If I removed every obstacle instantly, you would never discover your true capacity. You are not behind. You are being prepared. You are not forgotten. You are being formed. You are not overlooked. You are being developed. What looks like slowness is strategic timing. What feels like silence is precise orchestration. You do not see the full picture, but I do. And I am aligning things you cannot yet see. I am arranging conversations. I am positioning opportunities. I am removing unseen dangers. I am strengthening your character. You doubt because you see fragments, but I see the finished masterpiece. Trust me, I will never abandon the work I started in you. When you felt too tired to continue, there are days when exhaustion goes deeper than physical tiredness. It's not just your body that feels weak. It's your heart. It's your mind. It's your spirit. You wake up already drained. You fight battles before breakfast. You carry responsibilities that feel heavier each day. You keep going, but inside you are whispering, I don't know how much longer I can do this. I see your fatigue. I see the invisible weight. I see the quiet strength you display while feeling overwhelmed. You think I expect you to be strong all the time. I do not. I expect you to lean on me. When you are too tired to stand tall, lean. When you are too overwhelmed to think clearly, pause. When you are too weak to fight alone, call my name. Strength is not pretending you're unbreakable. Strength is knowing where your help comes from. I am not disappointed by your exhaustion. I am moved by your perseverance. Even when you wanted to quit, you didn't. Even when you felt empty, you kept going. Even when you were discouraged, you chose another step. That step mattered. That breath mattered. That prayer mattered. You may feel like you are barely holding on, but the truth is, I am holding you, and my grip does not weaken. Rest in this truth. You are not carrying your life alone. You are not sustaining your future alone. You are not fighting your battles alone. I am with you in your weakness. I am with you in your exhaustion. I am with you in your uncertainty, and I will never abandon you. Not when you are strong, not when you are tired, not when you feel capable, not when you feel broken, not ever. When fear tried to control you, fear has whispered to you more times than you admit. It told you that you would fail. It told you that you were not ready. It told you that something bad was about to happen. It told you that history would repeat itself. It told you that you were alone in this fight. Fear painted pictures in your mind, worst-case scenarios, imagined disasters, voices of doubt growing louder in the night. You smiled in the day, but battled anxiety in the dark. You tried to silence the overthinking. You tried to calm your racing thoughts. You tried to act brave, but inside you felt uncertain. Listen to me carefully. Fear is loud, but it is not truth. Fear magnifies what might happen. Fear focuses on what you cannot control. I control what you cannot see. There were moments fear almost paralyzed you. Moments when you hesitated to step forward. Moments when you nearly walked away from opportunity. Moments when you questioned your ability, but you moved anyway. You stepped anyway. You tried anyway. That courage did not come from nowhere. It came from me. I was strengthening you internally while fear tried to weaken you mentally. You are not as fragile as fear suggested. You are not as incapable as anxiety claimed. You are not as doomed as your thoughts predicted. If I had abandoned you, fear would have swallowed you whole. But I stood between you and what tried to consume you. You may still feel fear sometimes, but fear does not rule you. I do, and I am greater than every shadow that tries to intimidate you. I will never abandon you to fear. I walk with you through it, when you thought no one noticed. There were sacrifices you made quietly, efforts no one applauded, acts of kindness no one thanked you for, responsibilities you carried without recognition. You gave, you tried, you showed up, and sometimes it felt unnoticed. You wondered if it even mattered. You questioned if anyone saw your consistency. You doubted whether your integrity was worth it. Hear me clearly. Nothing you do with sincerity is wasted. Nothing you endure with faith is unseen. Nothing you give with love is forgotten. I saw you choose patience when you could have reacted. I saw you forgive when you could have held resentment. I saw you stay committed when quitting seemed easier. I saw you continue when you felt unappreciated. Every silent decision to do right instead of wrong, every unseen moment of discipline, every hidden act of faithfulness, it is recorded. You may not receive applause from people, but heaven has taken notice. The world measures impact by visibility. I measure impact by obedience. The world celebrates loud success. I value quiet faithfulness. You felt small, but you were growing. You felt overlooked, but you were being refined. You felt forgotten, but you were being strengthened in secret. If I had abandoned you, your integrity would have collapsed under pressure, but you remained, and that matters more than you know. Stay faithful, stay steady, stay aligned, because I do not overlook what others ignore. I will never abandon the seeds you have planted in obedience. They will grow in the right time. When you questioned your worth, there were voices, spoken and unspoken, that tried to define you. Words from your past, labels from mistakes, opinions from people who misunderstood you, criticism that lingered in your memory. You began to internalize it. You replayed negative words. You accepted limitations that were never assigned by me. You shrank yourself to fit other people's expectations. You doubted your value. You doubted your beauty. You doubted your intelligence. You doubted your purpose. You doubted your calling. But who has the authority to define you? Not your past, not your critics, not your failures. I formed you intentionally. You are not random. You are not accidental. You are not ordinary. You carry purpose inside you. You carry potential inside you. You carry strength you have not fully discovered yet. You see your flaws. I see your design. You see your scars. I see your survival. You see your limitations. I see your capacity. You measure yourself by comparison. I measure you by calling. If I had abandoned you, your identity would have been shaped entirely by pain. But I stayed to remind you of truth. You are chosen. You are seen. You are known. You are valuable. You are loved beyond measure, and nothing that happened to you can cancel that. No betrayal, no rejection, no failure, no delay, no loss. Your worth does not fluctuate with circumstances. It is anchored in my love, and my love does not change. I will never abandon you, not when others misunderstand you, not when you misunderstand yourself, not ever. This is your confirmation. You did not arrive at this moment by accident. You did not watch this entire message by coincidence. You are here because something inside you needed confirmation. Confirmation that you are not alone. Confirmation that your pain had purpose. Confirmation that your delay was not denial. Confirmation that heaven has not forgotten your name. You have been asking for a sign. You have been praying for reassurance. You have been waiting for clarity. And this is it. This is your confirmation. I have never left you. Not in the beginning. Not in the middle. Not now. Every step you thought you walked alone, I was beside you. Every tear you thought fell unnoticed, I collected it. Every prayer you thought disappeared into silence, I heard it. Every battle you thought was invisible, I was fighting behind the scenes. You survived things you thought would destroy you. You endured seasons you thought would break you. You walked through valleys you thought had no exit. And yet you are still here, still breathing, still standing, still hoping, still believing, even if only a little. That little faith, it was sustained by me. There were moments when you were ready to quit completely. Moments when the weight felt unbearable. Moments when darkness seemed louder than light. But something stopped you. Something held you back from giving up. That was not coincidence. That was not luck. That was my hand. You are not alive by accident. You are preserved on purpose. Your story is not over. Your purpose is not cancelled. Your destiny is not erased. And your calling is not forgotten. The enemy whispered that you were abandoned. But I declare over your life right now, you are covered. You are protected. You are chosen. You are guided. You are loved. The season that tried to convince you I was absent will soon prove that I was arranging everything in your favor. What felt like silence was strategy. What felt like delay was alignment. What felt like isolation was preparation. You are stepping into a new understanding, not based on emotion, not based on circumstance, but based on truth. And this is the truth. I will never abandon you. Listen to me clearly now. There is no storm that can separate you from my presence. There is no mistake that can cancel my promise. There is no failure that can erase my plan. There is no darkness that can overpower my light in your life. When you are weak, I am strength. When you are lost, I am direction. When you are afraid, I am peace. When you are broken, I am restoration. When you are uncertain, I am stability. You may not always understand my timing. You may not always see my hand. You may not always feel my closeness. But my presence is not dependent on your perception. It is constant, unchanging, unmoving, eternal. I was with you in your past. I am with you in your present. And I will be with you in your future. Through victories, through losses, through beginnings, through endings, through celebrations, through tears, through open doors, through closed doors, through seasons of abundance, through seasons of waiting. There will never be a moment in your existence when I walk away. Never a second when I withdraw my love. Never a circumstance that makes me reconsider my commitment to you. Even when you doubt me, I remain faithful. Even when you question me, I remain steady. Even when you struggle, I remain near. I am not temporary. I am not seasonal. I am not conditional. I am constant, and this is my promise over your life. I will never abandon you. Not when you rise, not when you fall, not when you understand, not when you are confused, not when you succeed, not when you fail, not in public, not in private, not in strength, not in weakness, not today, not tomorrow, not ever. Carry this truth with you. Let it silence fear. Let it quiet anxiety. Let it calm your doubts. Let it anchor your heart. You are not abandoned. You are not forgotten. You are not alone. You are mine, and I am with you always. Amen.